know is we're going to make a superhero game, an open world, action adventure, and that was it. There was no story. You have no idea what the character is. So for me, I was one of the guys who's doing the character designs, and I literally sketched like reams and reams of just character art. And when I show it to Brian, our producer, nothing really kind of hit, nothing really sank in. Until Nate Fox, our game director, says, "Hey, what about if this guy is like a bike messenger?" And all of a sudden, eureka moment. Okay, we're telling a superhero story. This first game is going to be the origin story. How should we bring about, how does he get his power? And one thing we thought about is like, well, it's pretty typical in some of the more iconic superhero where, a really good guy, kind of, something really bad, tragic happens to him, and now, by accident, freak accident happens, and I got power, now I'm going to do good. Well, it's like, let's take that and just really kind of take our spin on it. So we start off the game, it tells you, press start, kaboom, kill thousands of people, and you're at fault. You did it.
Yeah, that's John.
How far did you guys have to plan out? When you sat down and decided, you're talking about the story on a very, open world, he's a bike messenger, come be crazy. But how many games out did you plan all this stuff coming back down?
I think we would do the kind of the rough story blocking, and here's the arc we want to follow, here we want a betrayal, here we want a happy moment. But we wouldn't get into the details until we actually started working on the gameplay. So maybe
just in general, it's like the game and the story being non-linear, both of those. And as a studio, we're all about iteration. It was something where it was about finding the game and finding the story, the actual story, the details. They all kind of went hand in hand.
Talk about his powers. How did that come about?
It was kind of the same, just like in the story where we started with, okay, here's 100 different pictures and we don't know where we're going. It was kind of the same thing. We didn't really have like here's the list of what it's going to be, block it out. It was kind of like, let's throw a bunch of spaghetti.
Everything.
Let's do everything.
Everything.
And we'll pick the fun stuff.
Talk about Empire City, right? Did you know from the beginning you wanted to do a very segmented approach, kind of let players go piece by piece?
Yeah, the iconic moment of the superhero in the city was kind of standing on top of the building, looking down, feeling like you own the city, feeling like you're its protector, and that's so giving the player parkour and the ability to go wherever they want really fit well with that.
Electricity is his thing. Obviously, water has to be his weakness. Was it important for you guys to give him a weakness? Because obviously that's what sucks about Superman.
Weakness is always a nice way of being able to bring up game mechanics that are interesting, situations, scenarios that are interesting for the character and for the player to be in. Because ultimately, if you don't have weakness, it's very one-dimensional.
The electricity and how he tied into the city, it really helped round out the character.
And it really fits. You can say, electricity is kind of like the lifeblood of the city, and coal is the extension of it. Draws from it, then you can use it.
What is going on right now with these two?
What we are doing on the animation standpoint is a lot of things to really bring in the physicality and also just looking at every single aspect of Cole's character and what he does, how he moves, and looking at it in a different light. All the way down to his L1. In the first game, L1 was something he goes around and he's got his hand out like this. In this game, we actually decided to make it more where it's like, all right, let's bring the physicality into it. What would you do if you were doing it? So we made it more like a jab punch sort of thing. So if you go along, you just R1 and you're just zapping like this, and then if you really want to throw a missile, bam, he goes like that.
There was things in Infamous, the first game, that we couldn't do because we had technological limitations. We didn't have time, and so we were really trying to leave no stone unturned. That was kind of our motto in this game. And part of that was, how can we make Cole more interesting? How can we make him fit in a new city he's going to be in, a new backdrop?
We had different versions. At any given time, we had like 4 different versions that we were messing around with, because we wanted to see what we could do. And honestly, the big thing was a lot of the feedback that we had initially from Infamous and everything is that people didn't like the original Cole.
You actually had stuff planned in Infamous 2 before the first one came out. You guys just super hard workers. How did that happen?
Part of the time it took to make Infamous was we were ramping up to the PS3 so we can leverage all that when we started Infamous 2. We're starting from that strong point. So like right away, we already had a game running. We had a guy, we had a city, we had parkour, all this stuff. So we kind of got a head start this time.
I'm actually from New Orleans, and I'm very impressed with how you made it look pretty much exactly like that.
We actually sat down and go, okay, Empire City, we actually, kind of destroyed it pretty good. And, if we're going to do a sequel, we want to make sure to kind of surprise the fan and show them something new, new content. So what city do we think that could, that we can show that is recognizable, that people automatically have that connection to? When you say New Orleans, there's like 5 things that only pop in your head. Above ground cemetery, the verandas, the French Quarter. So all that thing, the swamps.
Yeah.
So that seemed like a really good thing for us to do.
Why did you change the voice actor?
We were ripped about, how gravelly it was. It sounded like the throat cancer. It's, what was it? The Christian Bale, Dark Knight. Like that was one of those things that we were hearing that the most, And again, when we were going through it, looking at it, plus a really super big thing was the fact that we were going to go more with a unique use of mocap. It's like we're not using pure mocap, but we wanted to integrate that, and we needed to have someone that could do that and could put the suit on and actually do that while we're recording stuff, so that we get this real, visceral, performance.
After playing this one, I just kept thinking how cool it would be to have someone against to do that with. Do you have any plans for surprising them?
A lot of people on the forums have been asking the same question, which is, multiplayer. Sony has the 3D technology, the move support, all that stuff. And we don't have anything to announce on that today, but again, stay tuned.
Cole can call down lightning from the heavens, hurtle people off of buildings, throw energy grenades, but has he finally been able to conquer the inability to climb chain link fences?
It's Derek's fault, senior designer.
So there you go. We just it is literally my fault. So that is the top of our list. It's Cole versus the chain link fence.